If it's happening in New York, New Jersey, or Long Island, hear about it with Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.
Portions of this show sponsored by Route 22 Honda.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe on the radio. It's 926. Great to have you with us. Thanks for staying with us on AM 970 The Answer, am970theanswer.com with Five Boroughs and Albert and Debbie. Appreciate it very, very much. Streaming, by the way, on YouTube and on Facebook. We're Facebooking and we streaming. Thank you, Matt, and thank you, George, for putting us all together here. So Mark Serrano's a buddy, CEO of Proactive Communications, senior advisor to Trump 2020. And Mark, I want to welcome you back to the show. How are you, Mr. Serrano?
Hey, Joe. Good morning. Now, look, Joe, I got an idea for these politicians.
Yeah.
With these snowstorms and the outages.
Please.
They just need to go on TV, and they got to wear a coat like yours, Nanook of the North. And that will send a message that they really are doing something about these outages and these storms. That is a visual these guys need. They got to get coached like you, Joe.
I'm telling you, those big Nanook of the North jacket. You know what? If they at least would do something, at least step up, Mark, right? I mean, at least step up. Look what the president does. And I know, you voted for the president. I have as well. So forgive us if we sound pro-Trump. But he showed up and he brought people into the White House. He has these listening sessions. He brings a live television camera in with Democrats and Republicans. Whether you agree with it or not, there is something being done there, Mr. Serrano. Yes?
Well, let me tell you, my friends, one of my great mentors was Michael Deaver, Ronald Reagan's image guy.
Cool.
And he was a master, a genius, an innovator in selling messages visually, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You got your Nanook of the North jacket, you're out driving the plow, you got the shovel, and you make a point.
Take my Bernese Mountain Dog, And I got the last time you were at the house, man, with Rob DiFrancesco, your guy, we're putting flowers up, because we had a Kim Godano coming out to the house, and I go, the lieutenant governor's coming, we got to put flowers, a flag. I'm getting new flags at Ace Hardware.
We all went down to Ace Hardware together, and we got the job done. That's what I'm talking about.
We did. We really did. And then, like I said, I went, oh, man, I got spring for 2 minutes. And I went, I remember the days when the knuckleheads were running around.
In the old days, I mean, you see you see Italians go into a hardware store and they're looking at shovels and rakes and stuff. You get a little bit worried. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, exactly. Who's going to bury what?
Especially wearing suits.
That's so true. We got a little problem. We want to take care of. Hey, you got a shovel. Thank you. Hey, Mark, I have to offer condolences. Your dad, Louis, passed away, and I apologize for not making the wake.
Don't you.
But what I love,
yeah.
and I saw tell us, if you would, that your father was a cop, and thank you for your service to the great city of New York through your dad, and you're leaving such a great legacy in the name of your father, and I'm feeling for you, man. My dad's been gone 15 years, and I feel it every single day. So tell us what Bernie Kerik, former commissioner of the NYPD, did at the wake for your dad.
Well, thanks, Joe. Thanks for your condolences. So we had his memorial service in Mendham on Saturday morning when all the 96% of power in Mendham, New Jersey was out on Saturday. But the firehouse had a generator, thank God, and we were able to relocate it. Bernie comes by. He had to teach a class at West Point, but he came by just before the memorial service. I talked to him a few days beforehand. He said, "What was your dad's badge number?" And Bernie shows up on Saturday morning with a replica New York City Police Department badge number 9177.
Wow.
Beautiful silver badge with a pin that my mother can wear in honor of my dad. What a beautiful, beautiful gesture from Bernie Kerik. I love him for it.
Just a beautiful thing. And by the way, the video that you put together, and I know you do a lot of work with the president's website. I'll tell you, the video you put together for your dad, that was it. If I may, and we'll get to politics in a second, Mark, 9:30 with Serrano and Piscopo on the radio. So when you put that together, you pre-recorded your dad years ago, you say, correct?
Oh, my goodness. I'm so grateful to have had that moment when he was still vibrant. But 6 years ago, I put him in the studio and I interviewed him about the early days and his family growing up in the Depression and how he forged his birth certificate at 17 years old to join the Coast Guard, and how he became a New York City mounted cop and Fort Apache, the Bronx, and then mounted police in Central Park. And it was just so last week I was able to produce a 5-minute video as a tribute to him. And, he was able to close out his own memorial service in his own words. It was just a great blessing. What a great gift that I had that opportunity with him.
Well, we're feeling for you, brother. And
Thank you, my friend.
So, but back to politics on the steel tariffs. See, me and Five Boroughs, I understand where the president's going with this. It could be a negotiation, a shot over the bow of China, as I read someone say. But what is your feeling with these tariffs? Because the president's it's probably equal. They're criticizing him, but a lot of the folks that want the manufacturing back, including some of the construction workers that listen to the show, Mark, they like what the president is doing here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I come at this from a very interesting perspective. In 1993, I worked in support of NAFTA for a big corporation.
Wow.
And I ran a major sort of campaign to support NAFTA with advertising and building support for it, and we won. Well, let me tell you something. 25 years later, I believe we lost. And I believe President Trump really tapped into a very, very critical issue in the campaign where we lost manufacturing jobs because of what ended up to be a lousy trade deal. So the president now has spent a lot of time examining this very closely. I know I know personally a member of his staff who's leading this issue, and I'm telling you, he's looked at it very carefully, and he's being very, very strategic. And I have to tell you something. What are we going to do? Stick with the status quo where our jobs have gone overseas and manufacturing is shut down in Pennsylvania and Ohio and Michigan and Wisconsin? No. Donald Trump is saying we're going to be very strategic about this. He's looked at it closely, and he's being extremely strategic. And I believe that he will be able to reset the trade dynamic, the lousy trade deals that we've had for decades. And it takes for him to have to make these moves, apply these tariffs to get these countries to the table. So, look, I think this is going to help American workers. I believe this is a very strategic approach, and we got to back the president on this entire approach. Yeah,
we agree, Mark. And you're welcome to call if you disagree. 877-970-2990. And hey, were you at the Gridiron dinner on Saturday night, man?
No. They
it's pretty...
my white tie was in the cleaners, so I couldn't make it.
Yeah. That was pretty wild. I mean, I want to see that. Is there a video of that? Because I'm not seeing a video surface anywhere.
No, me either. But I have to tell you something. Can you imagine, Joe, if Barack Obama delivered those jokes at the Gridiron dinner? He'd be hailed as the greatest comic to ever sit in the White House.
They were great.
Donald Trump had some zingers, didn't he, Joe?
It was great, especially when they said the press is asking me. Donald Trump says how I'm dealing with the madman in Korea, and Donald Trump said, "Well, that I don't know, but that's his problem, not mine," which was a great joke, a turnaround right on himself. I couldn't believe the self-deprecatory humor. See, I know him as that, and I told you 100 years ago. I've told the stories 1,000 times on the radio how I knew him as that, and it's great to see that he's coming into his own like this, And
I'm telling you, I agree.
Yeah, so
I agree. Look,
go ahead.
Look, I'm sorry. He said, look, I had everybody in the White House take a look at these jokes, and consulted them, particularly Mike Pence. I mean, everybody knows it's brilliant.
That was great. I'm gonna let you. I'm sorry I'm late, but they couldn't clear Jared through security. That was very funny. That was funny. Hey, tell us about Netanyahu before we let you go, Mark. That went well with the president yesterday. Yes.
Yeah, look, this is a very, very important, special relationship. The president has renewed our relationship with Israel. It is the most important strategic relationship in the Middle East, but the president is using that relationship to forge. I think we have the greatest opportunity in 40 years for peace in the Middle East, thanks to Donald Trump's leadership and thanks to the relationship with Bibi Netanyahu.
Yeah.
I mean, let me tell you something. Donald Trump is hailed as a hero. The USA is beloved throughout Israel right now, but the president is a great negotiator. He's going to use that relationship with Bibi Netanyahu to get peace in the Middle East. I really think this is we have a totally new dynamic in the Middle East. And keep in mind, Iran is a major threat, not just to Israel, but it's a major threat to countries throughout the Middle East.
It's getting worse.
The countries, and they have really organized behind Donald Trump's leadership to change that dynamic against Iran. So I think we've got a new day in the Middle East ahead in the near future.
And Jared Kushner put this front and center, and that's been the Kushner.
Well, and let me just tell you something, Joe. There's a smear campaign being conducted against Jared Kushner, and the reality is He has worked behind the scenes on some of the most major issues of our time under the president's leadership, and that's one of them where he's going to make a tremendous difference for America.
Yeah, you're right, Mark. Listen, our condolences on the loss of your dad. How you doing? You doing okay? If I can ask.
And it's well, you've been through it, and his passing was a blessing, but boy, am I going to miss him. Thanks so much for all your condolences.
Well, his legacy carries on in you, Mark Serrano. Thank you, my friend.
Amen. Thank you, brother.
God bless.
Everybody knows this guy. No, everybody knows he can do a radio show. Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.